Back at it again. Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi, and of course I bring you all the latest around Arsenal on a daily basis. We have a couple of stories around our club this early morning, and we are going to be discussing them because Arsene Wenger these days is too much in the media around Arsenal. He says we can go back to top four. We can be the surprise package this season. We can actually, go back to the Champions League. We bought well. We're going to be discussing that and more. And then Ceballos is also set to get a permanent contract. That is at the end of the season. Does he deserve it? Should we sign him on a permanent? There are also so many questions about that. So please make sure you have smashed a like, on the video. Smash the like button. Get me your opinion today. Do you think Ceballos deserves a long-term contract? And is Arsene Wenger's prediction true? Are we the surprise package? Are we going back to top four like Arsene Wenger says? And that's where we're going to be starting off right now. Now, Arsene Wenger says former club, Arsenal is going to be back. Is going to go back to top four this season. He says we could be the surprise package this season. We could actually go back to the Champions League. Remember, I think it's going. We are almost 5 years without Champions League football. Ever since Arsene Wenger left us, he left us actually out of the Champions League, slots. We have taken a couple of years in the Europa League, playing the Europa League, and recently we finished 8th, and it's thanks to Aubameyang helping us to win the FA Cup. Otherwise, we would not be able to play Europa League football. Now, Arsene Wenger says, according to the buys we had in the summer, according to how we spent the money in the summer, we could actually go back to top four, to Champions League football. I don't know what you guys think about this, but in my opinion, I would say Arsenal bought well. We bought well, and you remember my ratings of the window. I think it was a 6 out of 10. We bought well. We brought in players that we needed in areas that we needed, in positions that we needed. We needed a centre back. We brought in Gabriel Magalhaes. We also brought in Saliba, but the problem is that we are letting him go. That is where now the max reduce a little. We needed a midfielder, a CDM, a box to box. We brought in Thomas Partey, we brought in Willian, we brought in Ceballos in the midfield, back from loan, from Real Madrid. Yeah, I think we bought well. And if you look at our midfield and our team, if you compare it to the other teams around, in the league, we can actually, we can actually compete with them. You can compete with Manchester United. We can compete with Chelsea. We can compete with Tottenham. I think we can still compete with those teams. But the problem is, our squad depth is still lacking. There are times when we are going to reach and have so many games, back-to-back games. For example, in this month, we have 4 games left in this month, but they're not really well spaced. And even in November, you have a couple of games to play. So we need that squad depth, and it's not available. Literally, we have less than 6 midfielders at Arsenal. You have Ceballos, you have Thomas Partey, you have Granit Xhaka, and Mohamed Elneny. Those are the 4 midfielders you can talk about. That Arsenal has 4 midfielders. We lack that squad depth. Because the rest for top 4 might not have so many quality teams right now. Maybe all teams are not well prepared. Maybe all teams are not up to the task. But it's not going to be an easy race. Jose Mourinho is there waiting for Arsenal to drop points. It's going to be Chelsea waiting for you to drop points. Manchester United is going to be waiting for you to drop points. I thought we needed more players, more quality players in the squad. Of course, you can't build a big squad in one day, right? So I think Arsene Wenger's prediction, he could be quite right. We could be the surprise package. Like he said, he calls this, he calls us a surprise package. Like we could surprise everybody and then go back to that Champions League, slot. Which for me it wouldn't be a surprise. We have a good manager, we have a good midfield right now, we have a good back line, and we have a strong attack. There are clubs that we are better than, although we did make so many signings. There's so many clubs that we are better than, though we did make so many signings. So Arsene Wenger's prediction, I think, you guys can tell me what do you think about Arsene Wenger saying that we should go, or we can go back to the Champions League, because we bought well. When he says we bought well, does he mean Partey and Magalhaes? Or does he mean Ceballos and Willian? I'm not really sure, but he says we bought well and we can actually go back to the Champions League. Big up, man. He has produced a book. It's called the book is called he has produced his autobiography, but I'm forgetting the name. It's called My Life in Red and White. My Life in Red and White. It's 380 pages. I'm planning on buying it so that we can actually read it together on the channel. So I'll be dropping episodes of the book as soon as I buy it. I need to work on my credit card so that I can actually purchase those things. So make sure when I buy the book, you're the first people to watch the show. I'll be dropping episodes, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, My Life in Red and White. That is Arsene Wenger's new book. And then moving forward, we were tracking said Benrahma, but it seems we are not going to sign him for one or two basic reasons. He has agreed a deal with West Ham. Now that means Arsenal remains with only one option, who is who's Emi Buendia. And like I said, Buendia and Benrahma, they have very similar statistics. Because last season both of them recorded 8 assists. Although Benrahma created 91 chances, Buendia created 83 chances. Goal scoring, that's where the difference is. Benrahma had an exciting 17-goal run, and then Buendia had, I think, 1 goal or 2 in the last season. But still, if we can get in Emi Buendia, it would be such a nice addition. So Benrahma has agreed a deal with the club itself, West Ham, and Brentford have also agreed to sell the player to West Ham. I think it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble when you have West Ham having Benrahma. I think this would have been some big opportunity for us to sign Benrahma. But like I've already said, Arsenal will not make another signing in my case, and I think if we are going to bring in a creative midfielder, it might be Housemowa. I think Mikel Arteta is still more interested in Housemowa than any other player, than any other creative player in the market. We are linked with Dominic Zizobolai. We are also linked with Buendia, but it seems Mikel Arteta would want to try out Housemowa before he moves on to sign another playmaker. What do you think? Benrahma goes to West Ham and we get Buendia. That would be quite awesome. Story number 3, Dani Ceballos said to stay at Arsenal at the end of the season. Someone asked me this question on my stream yesterday evening, and I was like, if Dani Ceballos is going to stay at the club, it's awesome. I have no problem with it, because Mikel Arteta loves the player. The player loves to play with Arsenal. There were so many options. There are so many deals for him on the table, but he chose to come back to Arsenal. That means he wants to play with us. And according to Mikel Arteta, I still remember his words. He says, the best thing is when a player wants to play for the club. You don't want to force a player who doesn't want to play for you. So Ceballos already shows us that he wants to play for the club, but for him to get that contract, for him to become a permanent player at the club, it really doesn't take being with the club on loan for 2 years. It will take more than that. It will take an extra mile of us, seeing how Dani Ceballos engages in the game, how Dani Ceballos can contribute to our success this season. For example, if he's going to play as that number 10, he needs to show us that he can create the chances. He needs to show that he can score more, score more goals from those, goal scoring opportunities. And he needs to show us that he can get in those dangerous areas of the opponent. Basically, I have no problem with Dani Ceballos getting a permanent contract at Arsenal. He's a wonderful player. Wonderful player. He's gifted, technically gifted. If you look at one of if you ask me who's the most technically gifted player, in that Arsenal side, without Mesut Ozil, you would think about Dani Ceballos. Very, very good player, especially in that midfield. But earning a contract must be earned. not given out of sympathy, not because he's, he loves Arsenal. Like you guys were telling me that Wilfried Zaha loves Arsenal so much, and a contract must be earned. If you want to stay with Arsenal, if you want to prolong your stay with Arsenal to make it permanent, then you got to prove to us that you are that right man to be in our midfield. Otherwise, if he doesn't prove me right, if he doesn't if it doesn't appeal to me that he needs a contract, I'm never going to come to my show and say, we should give Danny Ceballos a contract. Like last season, I was not impressed. I wouldn't give him a permanent contract. And of course, his release clause is quite very expensive. Spanish players have those very expensive release clauses. So it's either Madrid, we sit down with Real Madrid and negotiate a way around, or we shall let him go back to Real Madrid, because his contract has no buy option. It has no obligation to buy. So that means Madrid can actually take him back and use him in any way. So there are rumors that Arsenal is planning on giving him a contract, a permanent contract. But for me, he has to earn it. He has to show us that he deserves the contract. Basically, this is the season for Danny Ceballos. He's not growing any younger, right? He's not growing any younger. This is the season to show us that I'm establishing myself as a man. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to be this kind of player for the rest of my life. So you tell me what you think about him getting a new contract. We are signing a new contract with the Emirates Stadium. That would be, for me, that would be awesome if he deserves it. If he doesn't do enough, let him go back to Real Madrid. Let him go back to La Liga. Let us get in a player who fits our ambitions. But for now, like I said, let him prove. He hasn't proven. He hasn't proven to any of us. He hasn't proven to any of us that he's a bad player, and he hasn't proven to any of us that he's a bad, he's a good player. So we just need to watch him play. I know being under Mikel Arteta, because Oz is not here, Gendouzi is not here, so you expect Danny Ceballos to get a lot of playing time at Arsenal. But talking about his contract, I don't want us to get players on permanent contracts like Pablo Mari and Cedric Soares for 4 years. You ask me, did they were here on loan? Did they actually earn their contracts? The answer is no. Raul Sanelli, just got his pen and scribbled around and says, I'm adding these two players on permanent contracts. So I think any player who should actually join Arsenal should have earned it. It's high time we stop signing players because we are excited about bringing in a player, because we want to bring in a player for the sake of a transfer switch. It's high time Arsenal starts bringing players because they deserve to play for Arsenal. We are a big brand, we are a big club, soon going back to the Champions League. That means we are going to be attracting top quality talent. And of course, by the fact that we can attract top quality talent, that means there's going to be a lot of competition among players who want to play for Arsenal. Our job will be just sieving, getting the best player out of all those candidates that want to play for us. But Danny Ceballos, have no problems with him. He hasn't done enough this season, but if he can do enough this season, why not let him get a permanent contract? So those are the 3 stories around the Arsenal today. Ceballos is long term, and Arsene Wenger says his former team is ready to go back to the Champions League this season. We could actually finish in top 4. However, we might finish in top 4, by the way. It is true, we can finish in top 4. But are we ready to go back to the Champions League? Do we have that quality? Do we have that squad that can play in the Champions League and compete very well? Because Champions League is not like Europa League. Because when I was looking at our group stage games, I was really happy. We have Rapid Vienna, we have Dundalk, we have Molde. Those are maximum points. Those must be maximum points. Second 11, maximum points. But Champions League is not like that. Probably by the time depending on the time we have taken without going in the Champions League, we should be facing Bayern or or Dortmund or something, or some club like that. That's not going to really be easy for us. So we need the quality, and we need to start building that quality now. In the January transfer window, we need that, we need some quality signings. But if we went back to the Champions League, for me it would be interesting. One, we would need more signings, and it would be an interesting summer. See Arsenal flying around for for Europe, for UEFA Champions League signings, like a 22-year-old lady, flying around during Christmas, looking for the best clothing, in the market. So, I would want us to go back to the Champions League this season, and I'm very sure we are going to compete favorably well. Am I excited? Yes, I'm excited to see us in the Champions League. I'm excited to see us buying players. Not this time, not getting ready for Europa League, but getting ready for the Champions League. My name is Kosi, and I bring you the daily news update around Arsenal. My second channel is called Kosi Talks Football, and I'll be dropping a video on that, on that channel on a daily basis as well. So make sure you check it out.